Hey folks, Lester here. I'm kind of excited about bringing you this video. I will say a couple of things about it. Number one, if you want to know about Pearl and her band camp and how successful that was, we'll talk about that. We're talking about Tex. We're doing a lot on Tex today, so this will be interesting. Carl gets brought up. All of the Longhorns, the fishing that we're working on. Man, there's a lot in today's video. And guess what? This is the first video that I've ever made where there were no cuts. This was a straight through video where I stood in one area and I never had to do any cuts, no edits. And I've been doing this for a long time. And there's nothing to cut out. I didn't make any slip-ups. I didn't say any bad words. I didn't do anything that could get the video or the page in any trouble. I'm learning. You guys watch. There's a lot in today's video. I see a problem. I know for a fact that when Jake set that hay roll out, that roll of hay, he cut those strings. But as you can see, we must have missed one, and Tex has done his part to help find it. And it's wrapped right there around his horn. Buddy, this has to be one of the most, well, you know what? It's just a dilemma. It's just a huge dilemma that we have. Let me pour out the rest of these treats here so I won't get kicked. It's kind of the damned if you do and damned if you don't. Guys, I'm sorry to say it so bluntly. No, just so blunt. I'm sorry to be so blunt about it, but it is. It's a damned if you do and a damned if you don't. What I mean by that is this. Here goes. Let me find a better angle. If we were to leave the strings on that hay, it would stay nice and compact. We would have we would have very little waste. They would eat it down. It would not get moisture on it. It would, because when it's wrapped up nice and tight, the top layers may get some moisture, but it will kind of repel the moisture from seeping down into the hay. There is a ton of advantages to leaving the hay wrapped. And wrapping comes in so many shapes and sizes. You've seen my dad say they put an entire net wrap around it. You have the guy that we use who just uses string. It doesn't matter how it's wrapped. That hay is rolled up like toilet paper. And so maybe even if the top gets wet, the water rolls off of it. But the downfall to having those strings on there is, number one, Tex will go up there and start banging around on it just for fun. And in that process, he ends up getting some of that string wrapped around his horns. He likes that, though. He likes that string wrapped around his horns. If you haven't noticed, in the short time that I've been sitting here filming him, he's already got some more string. He took the string off of his left horn, and he purposely put it to his right horn. So I'm going to walk up and take that off in just a second, okay, before it gets out of hand. But another problem with cutting the strings is that whenever Tex or Santana or whoever comes up to start pushing and shoving on it, guess what? They begin to unravel it. You can see here, it was put out today. This hay was put out just this afternoon, and in just a couple of hours' time of everyone coming by and bumping into it and pushing up against it, they have already unraveled it enough to where now all of this that I'm pointing at is going to go to waste. And you know why? Because they will walk on it, they will poop and pee on it, and they will sleep on it tonight. Let me get this string off his horn before he ends up running around and... Come here, gotcha. You can see it's been cut. It just wasn't pulled out of there all the way. So he will end up getting that. Watch it. Hey, baby, I got string being pulled here. Sweet girl. Oh, boy. All right, so the string has been removed. And I think we're in We're a lot safer now than what we were. So there we go. Oh boy. All right, all is good. All is good. And so ultimately, all of this is going to be wasted hay. So what we're going to have to do sooner rather than later is, while the weather's good, take that hay bar that we have up in the corral and rebuild it. We're going to have to dismantle it from over there and rebuild it over here. Oh, I just clarify, if you think that Tex is the only one that tears up the rolls of hay, well, that's not accurate, guys. That is not true. Moo comes by and does the same kind of stuff until Tex comes back, and then Moo will get scared and run off. Look, Santana will just come and say, move it or lose it. I'm going to call the video that. That's cute. Move it or lose it. And Santana to clear away for Gracie and Pearl. So the family of Longhorns are going to be eating right now. Sorry, Moo, you're not a Longhorn. I could also call the video that. That's also pretty funny. Sorry, Moo, you're not a Longhorn. Oh, I wish he wants to be a Longhorn too. He wants to. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so it's not just Tex that wreaks havoc on the rolls of hay, my friends. I love coming out and watching them, and I love being able to bring this to you guys. You know, I've had cows and horses and donkeys and goats and pigs, well, I would say most of my life, as a kid and as an adult. And so all of the things that I've seen them do, and I guess the way you learn to interact with them, that's nothing new. Okay, it's new for you, but it's not new for me. Okay, it's new for you too. All right, guys. All right. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, all right. Sheesh. What I'm trying to say is, it's fun making videos and sharing videos to the platforms, you know, both Facebook and YouTube, because I'm hoping that through this you'll be able to see things that you've never seen before. Maybe a side of, well, for example, a side of cattle. I mean, think about it. Most folks who don't have a chance to experience the farm or farm life, all you know about cattle is what you've seen on TV. You know, you've grown up seeing cowboys herd cows, or you may have, and here all of a sudden, let's be honest for a minute. Can you raise your hands in the comments? Can you raise your hand if for the first time in your life you've begun to experience sort of a relationship with a cow? Seriously, many of y'all absolutely adore those two right there, and for very different reasons. You may love Moo because he's a big galoot. You may love Tex because you just feel so sorry for him. And you want to know what's crazy? You feel sorry for him because he doesn't have enough girls. Now, how many of y'all would have ever thought that you would feel sorry for a man because he only has one girl? He doesn't have multiple women. He doesn't have a harem of women. Isn't that what's crazy about this? Is that you actually feel sorry for the bad guy. And poor Santana. How many of y'all, here we go again, how many of y'all realize her transgression? She made a mistake once by running off with Billy, and in that mistake, well, to her it wasn't a mistake. To her it was just, she had a calling, a yearning. And I think that a lot of people have had that yearning, that calling. And in that process, she ends up coming back with a baby. Whoopsie. Big whoopsie. Guys, that in itself is nothing that we're not. I mean, we watch soap operas and telenovelas if you're Spanish. So that's the same thing. And so you watch movies. And so this is real life. Maybe you yourself have had a midnight rendezvous and came back with a little memoir, a reminder of that particular romance. And so we can laugh about it because it's an animal, because we can relate to it. And so I love the fact that we are all able to come and watch the page and see animals that we're not always real familiar with, and we kind of hear and see their stories. And as the guy who videos and talks about the stories, and in a way, I'm the producer of the novella, or the Spanish is telenovela. That means it's a TV soap opera. Now, Tex is coming back, and he has run Moo away. Yeah, so pretty much all the Longhorns have claimed this roll of hay. The good news is, let's see what happens here. They may or may not run Voodoo off. I don't really know exactly how he's going to approach the roll of hay while the Longhorns are here. We saw yesterday that Bucky's, that's our Palomino horse, ran Tex away from a food trough. And today it looked like the Longhorns held their own. They outnumbered Voodoo. Yeah, poor Voodoo is outnumbered. And so all this, it's still yours. Santana's making circles to make sure it's all still good and there's no one else is imposing on their roll of hay. This is their roll of hay. No, but like I was saying before I got distracted. Uh-oh, trouble. Troubles are brewing. Look at all the wasted hay. Just all of the waste. And so we have to get something built. Something set up here to prevent this. We don't have enough hay to get through the end of March if we're going to go through it this fast. Seriously. And so here's a fun question. How in the world did that hay get way over there? Seriously. How did that chunk of hay get over there where Moo's eating? Because when Jake set it down earlier, and I know he was videoing, he set it right here. He cut the strings off, set it down right here. So we know how all this got messed around by these guys tossing it around with their horns. But how did he get way over there? You know what I'm going to guess? Tex was tossing it around. A big old blob got stuck on his back, because that happens all the time. He walked about 10 yards and it fell right off. And that's where Moo's eating it from. And that's funny. That's cute and funny. All right, family, I will leave you guys to be. I love you all. I do. I will address one question real fast. A lot of people are asking about Pearl and wondering if her little trip to band camp was a success. So, guys, it's hard to tell with cows. I mean, don't forget that they carry that calf for about 283 days. So for this type of cow, they carry that baby for a while. And so ultimately, it's not as easy as a goat to tell when it's going to happen. So it seems like she has the belly to be carrying a calf. I'm going to kind of circle around her a little bit if she'll let me. Sometimes animals don't like you to be behind them. I'm going to try to look at her. So Tex, he's trying to, well, what he's doing is saying, uh-oh, horses are coming behind me. I'm going to move around so I can keep an eye on them. So it's hard to tell with the cow, guys. You just may not know until all of a sudden the spring, March or April or so, which I think is the actual dates. All of a sudden, it's kind of like with a woman. And women are a little bit different. They begin to show, I don't know exactly, ladies. You can go a while without being obvious. And so all of a sudden, she'll just swell up in a couple of different spots, and then she'll have that calf. So for everyone who's thinking it was not successful, or those who are asking, we don't really know yet. It's not been long enough. But there's nothing really showing right now. That could just be belly fat, or that could be some development in there. Look at Gracie's little pooch. Look at that little pooch. I love that all the babies are healthy and fat. I know that sounds mean to say, but they are. They're fat, y'all. We have some really fat babies here. And now, Courtney, our farrier, says that he is too fat. When a horse gains too much weight, they can have issues around their joints and whatnot. And she says that he's at that point. For a human, they would call that they call that something just before you become obese. I don't know what they call that, but I think that's what he would be. Hey, get out of my pocket. That is string and a old wrapper that I brought y'all snacks down in, and you don't need either one of those. All right, friends, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this video off now. It's been fun though, talking about everybody. If you want to know about the fencing project, man, there's a lot in this video. Jake and I have not been able to work in a while, in over a week. We got our big post set, but we can't pull wire because it's too wet. I would say about half of that long fence line, about half of that is still in mucky, muddy ground. And you don't want to pull wire, friends, when the ground is wet, because you pull hard enough, and even though you have those corner posts in the ground, they can sometimes pull right out. So we're gonna have to let that dry a little bit more before we can keep going on our fence project. I think I've answered a lot of questions here in this one video. Talked about Pearl, and is she or is she not? Talked about rolls of hay, the pros and cons of leaving the string or taking the string. I didn't mention the fact that sometimes when you leave the string, an animal can accidentally ingest it. That does happen. We've never had that happen here, but it can happen, or at least I've read it can happen. Actually, at least you guys have told me it can happen. I don't know if you've ever seen it happen, but y'all sure tell me it can happen. All right, I'm walking with my shadow showing now. I look like one of those guys at the carnival who has those, yeah, I look like one of those guys at the carnival. I should, if I had some carnival music to stick on here, that'd be funny. All right. Don't follow me. No, do not follow me to the barn. There's nothing else to eat up there. I'm not feeding anybody else. All the food has been dispersed. You have hay. Look at all this area y'all have to hang out in. Congregate. Go talk to your buddy. Y'all go play. Y'all go play over here. I know you know how to play. You're a good playmate. Now go play, okay? Hey, Carl. Hey, my sweet boy. Carl. What a handsome fella. What a handsome fella you are, Carl. Look how tall he got. Oh, my God, y'all. My phone is fully extended. So that's, my arm straight up is 8 foot. And so he's actually taller than 8 foot. That's crazy. Y'all look at the shadow. And I'm gonna put the shadow right up next to Carl's face. And you can see his head actually is higher than my arm. Oh, I scared him. All right, buddy, I love you. And he just wanted to say thank you, Dad, for the girls. Thank you for the ladies. They have changed his life for the better. And I think that most of us men can say that. He does. Can y'all see how much healthier he looks now than what he did a couple of months back? Isn't that crazy? How just the introduction to a couple of lady friends, can make him get an appetite, and just his overall demeanor. He just seems happy. He just seems happy, and I love that. That in itself is living his best life. I'm gonna look past him at the ladies over there eating. And isn't that sweet? The girls are over there sharing along the fence line. And he could have stayed with the girls, but he came to see me. Oh, he did. Guys, he did. There's no other reason for him to be over here. Seriously, there's no reason to be over here. He came to see Daddy. I love that. All right.